Hi, I'm just here with your Yamaha Viking, and we're just going to go over the items that I checked over on the bike and any of the issues that I found. After we finished with the coolant issue, you'd also wanted me to check for oil use or oil leak and just do a general check over on the bike. So I've completed all that, and I'm just going to go run through with you all the little things that I found with the bike. So, the invoice will have a list on it when I'm finished of all the different things I checked. I did check all your steering and drive and suspension components, steering components, and that sort of thing. So we're just going to more or less concentrate on the things that I found that need work done to them. So left front wheel, you need a wheel bearing. That's slack on that side. Hopefully you can see that that axle moving independent of the knuckle when I rock the wheel up here with my hand. So you need a wheel bearing on that wheel. I don't have your special socket for your lug nuts. I looked in the dash and I didn't see it in there. If you can let me know where that is, that would be great. But you need, it'd be a little easier for me to show you on the video, but I am able to get in there with an inspection mirror and a light, and I can tell you that your front brake pads are pretty much wore down to the metal backers, or already wore at the metal backers. So that may have been a little bit of the squeal noise you heard when I think when you were here when you unloaded the bike, and I hear it too every time I move it. So you need new brake pads. It's the same on both sides. They both need to be replaced in the front. The only CV boot issue that I found, it's not really an issue yet. You have one boot there that you can see that's it's leaked out a little bit of grease. It doesn't look like there's a hole anywhere. Don't see any holes in the main body of the, maybe just at one point maybe you had that boot replaced or somebody replaced it, and that little bit of excess grease is squirted out past the clamp. I can take that clamp off and check underneath, make sure it's not torn if you like, or you can just keep going the way it is. It's completely up to you. Not your biggest issue right now. Up here in the front, I also checked your front diff fluid just to see what kind of condition that was in. This is the stick I used. I put that on this little white piece of paper so you can get a good idea what it looks like. And you can see she's pretty used up. That's pretty rough shape, so I would definitely change that. Let's see. We'll go on to the back. Coolant bottle's still in good shape, so we're good there. Just stop there on the way by. The back end, same sort of deal. Checked your CV boots, rear diff fluid, brake pads, wheel bearings, suspension bushings, and all that sort of thing. On the back wheels, both sides, sorry about the focus. Notice that your bushings and sleeves on your knuckles are wore out, and that's on both rear wheels. They're the same. You can keep driving it like that if you like. I would recommend replacing them myself, because they definitely don't get better, and filling them with grease doesn't make it better either. It only makes it better when it's on the left, and then it's just the same after you start driving it. Your rear diff fluid, not as in bad shape as the front for sure. It is a little dirty, but it still actually looks like fluid. It's not clear, but it's definitely still looks like fluid. You could go a little longer with that if you like, or we can change that now. Usually they don't get changed as often as the front diffs do, but that is something that we can change now if you'd like to do it, or you can check it again the next service. I will also make sure that the level's topped up. It seems like it might be down just a little bit, but it could be just the way the bike is sitting on the lift as well. No other issues on the back drive. All the other, except for, like I said, those bushings on both sides. So there's no other problems there. Let's see. Checked for an oil leak. Didn't find any oil under the bike. Didn't find any oil under the engine anywhere that I could see. So you can see in there, she's all pretty just dirt, but it's dry. There's no oil under there. What I did find though was that the your oil quality is in pretty rough shape. She's pretty dirty. We'll just lower it down here. And I know that if you have used oil and it's dirty, oil over time gets gets contaminated with just the process of combustion. So a little bit of excess gas here and there and all that sort of stuff. That's one of the reasons why you change it. That and the fact that it gets dirty from just the process of the engine running and wear and tear and all that sort of thing. So the filter takes out some, but the oil itself isn't in good shape. So I'll just wipe a little bit on my hand here, and you can see that that's pretty black as well. So I would recommend changing that. The level has stayed the same since you dropped off the bike, so I know that it's not leaking it just by setting for sure. It is possible that you would be using it. If the oil's viscosity is low enough, it will start to use oil. The other part of that is that as your oil quality goes down, you also can have the problem of increased ring wear, cylinder wear, and wear and other components in the engine. So I would definitely, right now, we can change the oil in the filter and see how it goes from there. The bike doesn't look to be smoking or anything like that to me, so and it seems to be running okay. I did pull the spark plugs out, or I pulled the rear plug. I didn't have to pull both because I was just looking to see if the plugs were oil fouled or anything like that. Didn't find any oil fouling on the plug that I pulled out in that rear cylinder. So you can see that, see if I can get that to focus in okay for you. It's kind of hard sometimes. There we go. So you can see that it seems to be burning not too bad, but there's some black sooty buildup, and that would tell me it's not oily. I wouldn't say that it's oil built. It's from oil consumption. That led me to believe that you had a rich condition. So the next thing that I did was I went into your air filter, and you have an air filter that's in pretty rough shape. So it's not just that it's really dirty. It's also wet, because down in the bottom of your air box is I can get it to move around, is water. So you have water in your air box. Your air filter is wet, a lot of dirt buildup on it. At this point, not sure if that one's even serviceable. We may have. Sometimes it's cheaper to buy a new filter element than it is to pay your mechanic to clean that and dry it out and re-oil it. And the other part of that is that something has decided to crawl in there and chew a big chunk out of it. So that's another reason to. There's another little piece where they chewed away at it. So that's another reason why you should change that filter. So next, checked all your lights, all your tail lights and your headlights work fine. Did find a little issue here with your brake light. When you depress your brake pedal, normal pressure to apply the brakes, you can see here that top spring is connected to your brake switch. Normal pressure, it's not turning on your brake lights. You have to pull it really hard before it'll pull that plunger out. So that needs to be adjusted. There's an adjustment here in a little adjusting nut on the barrel and stuff, and you just make it so that it's a little bit more sensitive. The other part of that is you're having to depress pedal a long ways because your pads are wore. Next, load tested your battery. It tested healthy. I think it was 340 cold cranking amps that it gave me for a test. I didn't bother looking up to see how many it's supposed to have. It did test okay, and that's plenty to start the bike anyway. It did say that the charge was down a little bit. You're probably only about 75% of the charge, so I'd recommend when you're not using the bike, especially for winter time and long periods of time, put this bike on a charger, or put the battery on charge and just keep it topped up and keep it healthy. I think that was everything. I have a list that I had over here on my bench, but I moved it around on myself. But I think that's all the issues that I found on the bike, and I'll do a little estimate up for you for replacing any of the parts or servicing anything that needs servicing, and I'll send that along to you, and we can go from there, and I'm sure we'll be talking soon.